In this lecture, we're going to be looking at how we can use a little bit of dissonance in amongst the consonant chords to create some really interesting chord sequences that we can use to make really effective compositions. So let's go straight in. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of what I mean by that, where we're mixing consonants and dissonance. So I've got my circle of fifths here again, just as a reference. This should become more and more familiar with you. The first chord sequence we're going to look at is this one. It has an F, it has a B flat, and then a C, and then an F. Notice they're all in the same place on the circle of fifths. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go from this area right the way across, all the way down to here, G flat or F sharp. Yeah, we're up here and then we jump right the way across. Have a listen to what happens when I make that jump. You may recognise the song. There's that jump to F sharp, and then we go back to consonants again. Oops, there we are, you get the idea. F, B flat, C, F. F, big jump to F sharp, and then back to where we started again. Just to C, and then the cadence into F. There we are, that's an example of how we use mostly consonant chords, and that makes it most familiar, and it just works well together to the listener, even to the non-trained musician. They might listen to it and go, yeah, that sounds nice. But automatically they can hear something odd has happened here, even if they're not musically trained, like we are. So, let's try another one. This chord sequence, it's mostly going to be D, and then A, and then there's a G in there, there's also a D. Yep, just like we started in the previous one. It was, what was it, F, C, B flat. It stayed in 1/4. This one happens to be D, A, whoops, and then G, and there's a D in there as well. And then it also goes right the way over from A, big jump, to F. Most of the song is in this key, D major. And then it very quickly jumps to F major. Let's have a listen to what that sounds like when it's put in context, and then we're going to try and write our own one. Right, let's see. We'll start here on A. Then it immediately goes dissonant to the F, and then back up to the A. Oops. You may recognise that, it's a Dua Lipa piece. We're effectively there, that's sort of our root, that's our tonic. And then, yeah, there's that one chord which is dissonant. That's what makes it sound interesting. Do your own research, listen to songs, try and find songs that have been massively popular, that have sold millions and millions of albums, or millions and millions of copies rather. Have a listen to them, and you probably notice that most of the song is consonant chords. That is, chords that sit really next to each other on the circle of fifths. And there'll be one chord, maybe two, a little tiny bit, maybe 10%, 20% of the song will use something dissonant in there to make it sound a little bit interesting. So take a moment to do a bit of research on that. Have a listen to some popular songs, and you'll start to pick up that the big songwriters, certainly of the last 20th century and before, will use that same little trick of having consonant chords and dissonant chords thrown in just to make things interesting. So let's dive right in, try writing our own one. I'm going to pretty much randomly work out some chords. Let's put it in C major first. I want C, keep it really simple, F, A minor, D minor, then I'm going to put C again in here, then G, then F, and then a nice cadence back to C. Okay, I'm going to make one of these chords slightly dissonant. Everything I was doing previously was all this stuff. Yep. And then if I randomly put in, let's say an A flat, I'm going to try putting in an A flat here. I've no idea what this is going to sound like, really. So there's my little substitute chord. So now it goes Interesting. I'm not that keen on it, but you get the idea. Let's scrub that out. Let's change one of the other chords to something dissonant. Let's try, instead of a G, I don't know, what would an E sound like in there? I'll put it in brackets just because it's not set in stone just yet. So now it would sound A minor, D, back to C again, E major. I kind of like that. I'm going to put that A down there and that F up there. Let's see what that sounds like. Again, I'm just experimenting with harmony. I've got two Fs there. Don't know if I like that. Might change that later. I do like this last bit though. Just that little chord sequence on its own, that's really nice. I can almost scrub away the rest of it, but I do like that. It goes to F. Sorry, it was an F there, it should have been. Okay, there's another thing. This is actually jumping ahead a little bit. I just happen to know that moving from minor to major is a particularly nice thing to do. So I've gone from F major, and then I'm going to move to F minor, wherever that is. Around here somewhere. Where is it? There it is, F minor. Bit of a jump there. It's related to that A flat that I put in earlier. So I wasn't a million miles off in the first instance. Okay, and then a C there. This is all very rough, and this is what I expect you guys to do. To just experiment. Loads and loads of rough paper. You might write 10, 15, 20 little songlets like this before you find things that work. See, that's really nice. If I do the first bit, let's change that. Let's simplify it a bit. Let's make that a D minor. This is looking really messy now, but you get the idea. C, D minor, F, D minor, C, now that dissonance, there we go. Let's try another one, and then you can try a few of these yourself. Again, 8 bars we're going to put in here. 1, 2, 3. I'm very, very quickly going through this. Let's change key a little bit. Let's stick to this area, the G, D, A bit. So we're going to put D. Again, I'm really roughing this out. You can spend a hell of a lot more time on it than me. Let's put B minor in there. Let's not go back to the tonic. Let's go back to A. Relative minor, F sharp minor. And then 2 Gs. I've not really paid too much attention to it. Let's see what that sounds like as it is. Kind of nice as it is. I might change, let's change that A major. We could change that to something else. What would it sound like as a B flat? Yeah, I'm just almost randomly picking out one kind of cat amongst the pigeons, just one extra chord I'm going to put in there. So D, G, B flat major, B flat minor. Okay, that's a bit too spicy. I'm not so keen on that. Let's see what else I could do. Let me just see if I can come up with something. Keeping it the same. A, B, A, major, sorry, F, and then E. These are all a bit obvious. You can experiment for ages before you find something that really, really works. So keen on that. You see, you can go down quite a few blind alleys before you find something that really, really works for you. Let's just try that, changing that second chord to what would it sound like as a D flat? Very dissonant, I should think. So it's going to do D to D flat. A little bit Pink Floyd sounding, I think. that repeating idea, go B flat to A a few times so I could have an alternate thing going on over here. So there's version 1, there's version 2. It went A to B minor, A to B minor. This little repeating, little ostinato idea could work. It's sort of got legs. I'm not sure where it could go after that, but and the B minor A thing, I quite like that. Went back up to the D flat, but you can sort of get the idea. It's mostly consonant chords that I've used, mostly sitting next to each other on the circle of fifths, and then one chord is outside of the box. And it's not something you have to use, but if you've got a chord sequence or you've got a piece of music that you've put together and it's okay, but it could do with spicing up a little bit, really. That's a little trick that you can do. Really, really handy idea for making a okay but somewhat mediocre chord sequence or melody sound a little more interesting. So do the same thing as I've done. Make a few different songs just using 8 bars, change one chord, see what sort of things you come up with, and I will leave a developed example of this on the end of the video.